Hi, it is currently 3 a.m. and I'm sitting awake in my Airbnb in Jaipur in the state of Rajasthan, which is in the north of India. Actually, just like a few hundred miles to the south of where the whole Pakistan-India conflict happened a while ago. It's also the hottest month in the year in Rajasthan at the moment. So, needless to say, I'm one of not many tourists in the area at the moment. But anyway, I also have a hectic travel day tomorrow and a meeting at 7 a.m. But you know what? I couldn't sleep because for the longest time, I've been toying with this idea of wanting to start a podcast. And it's just been keeping me awake. I sat here in the dark thinking, should I wait till morning? And I just told myself, do it. It's now or never. I have this like energy zipping through me, this like creative impulse or something's happening. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this is one of those times where you need to listen to that energy and something good is going to come of it. So, welcome to episode 1 of Lost and Found. I'm your host, Carmen Vit. This podcast is all about figuring out your 20s. I know everybody says pick a niche, but I mean, I've talked about this before on my social media. I just don't want to niche down. I want to stretch out. I feel like there is so much of me to explore, especially in your early 20s. I'm meeting new versions of myself every day. So, how can I pick a niche? I actually thought about naming the podcast What the Fuck is a Niche, you know? But I decided against that because my parents will probably listen to this, and this means that they already heard that part. But anyway, I decided to go with Lost and Found because that's where I'm at the moment. I'm a little bit lost, but I'm also finding myself every day. And if that's where you are, if you resonate with that, welcome. There's space enough here for both of us. So, in this podcast in general, yes, of course, I want to talk about solo travel because that's the biggest part of my life right now. I've been traveling for almost 2 years now, but solo traveling almost a solid year. I'm currently in India, just over the month and a half mark. And I, like I said, in the north of India, and it's been a crazy journey. So obviously, I want to talk about solo travel. I think that is one of the most empowering things that I have ever done for myself. And I want everybody to do it. I think the way it makes you see the world, how you interact with people, how you step into the world and curate the way you move through your life, it is life changing. Um, so, yes, in this podcast, I am going to be talking about traveling, but I also want to talk about love, about heartbreak, about, I don't know, being in that strange liminal space in your life where everything is floating. You know, you're not in school. And of course, if you are in school, if you are busy with your degree, or if you're working, wherever you are in your life, I do feel like we'll be talking about stuff that everybody can relate to. But for me right now, something that's been on my mind a lot is being in that space where nothing is structured. You're in your 20s, you just finished your degree, and you are now responsible for where your life is going. And that's crazy. That's scary. I want to think through how, like, what you do with your life when nothing is tying you down, when you have no responsibility. And then how can you find the courage to figure out for yourself what you actually want to do with that freedom? How to build a life that feels entirely like your own. How to find the courage to not follow a template, but create the template. And of course, if you want to work a 9 to 5, if you want to build a family and fall in love, that is beautiful. But I think the most important part is getting to a space where you choose that for yourself and you're not just thrust into it or it's not just something happening to you. I don't think life should be something that is happening to you. You should be happening to it. You should be wading through the chaos and picking and choosing for yourself what kind of experience you want to create for yourself. One of my favorite podcasters of all time is Margarita Nazarenko, and she frequently says, um, you have to love the experience of being you. And I think that's just so beautifully put. You have to love the experience of being you. And so, kind of following with that, I think this podcast is going to be about how to create an experience of being you that you can fall in love with. And I'm also very passionate about wellness. I have a diploma in health coaching that I did through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I did it online. It's a institute in New York, and I did that along with the final year of my degree. So yeah, I want to be talking about wellness, traveling, writing, creativity. I think in such a weird creative space at the moment. I'm always in a new place. Don't really have rituals and routines, which is something that usually fuels my creativity. So kind of trying to tap into my creative side while not having the rituals that usually allow me to create and stay in that space. But when it comes down to it, my hope with this podcast, yes, is to inspire you to travel, maybe to solo travel, but really it's just to inspire you to create a life that you're absolutely in love with. I want you to have childlike, from the belly joy that you can grasp onto without guilt or shame, and just decide what that joy looks like for you. Is that booking a one-way ticket to the other side of the world? Is that choosing to study art in Paris? Is that living in a jungle commune? Is that crushing your dream job in New York, or working your 9 to 5, or getting your master's degree, or whatever that looks like for you? I really just hope that this can be a space where we can think through the mess and the uncertainty of being young and following our dreams. I mean, I've always loved stories. I think that even throughout all the changes that I've been experiencing, all the different versions of me that I've been meeting in all these different places, there's always one thing that remains, and that is my love for stories, for writing them, telling them, collecting them from strangers in buses or hostels or wherever I might meet these people. I just love stories. I'm very deeply curious about people and their lived experience. And if there's one thing I'm realizing, it's that your 20s are really a time of emotional turmoil and heartbreak, especially for solo travelers. I think that the one common theme in every conversation, like deep heart to heart conversation I've had with solo travelers, it's that we're all getting over some kind of heartbreak. And that's definitely not unique to solo travelers. Everybody, I think, in this space in our lives is either getting married or getting over a heartbreak. So that's something I want to delve into too. I want this to be a space where we can be honest about the beauty and the burnout, the breakthroughs and the breakdowns of our 20s, and do that through stories. I mean, I didn't grow up thinking I would live out of a backpack or start a podcast, but here we are. It's really changed me, and it's changed the way I've thought about my upbringing and the world I came from, and how when you're 18 and you're in high school, everything feels like the be all and end all, black and white. There's no gray area. You were raised in a certain way, your community believes certain things, so that is the truth. And this is how things are done. And I've always loved books. I've always read a lot. So I think that if you read a lot, you kind of get used to putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. It's not like watching a movie when, I mean, my readers out there will know when you're reading something, you are really living that person's experience. You are hearing their voice narration in your own mind. And I do believe that reading really helps you grow your empathy and widen your perspective. So, something about my love of books and my love of reading kind of loosened up my perspective growing up. It always made me a little bit strange, thought a little bit different than the rest of my family. I was always the weird liberal kid at the dinner table when it's Christmas time, that kind of thing. So I was always aware that the world is bigger than the set beliefs of the community I grew up in. But I never realized how deeply different and wonderful and colorful and diverse people's mindsets and worldviews are. But then, what I also realized while traveling was the fact that even though people are so wildly different, one thing really binds us, and that is this wanting for connection, to be loved, to give love, to be understood, to feel connected, to strive. The beautiful thing of human experience is that we really want to reach out to one another, or at least most of us do. I never thought I would start a podcast. I don't think that's ever something that's crossed my mind before I started traveling. I always wanted to write a book, right? I've always wanted to write fiction. I've always written poetry. But it's only since I started living through this weird experience of being a 20 something and alone in the world and figuring things out by myself have I started making these long voice notes on my phone. And I was like, well, I want to share this because I know what it's like being lonely in a new city and I want to go on a walk. I don't want to talk to anybody new, right? I don't want to have the whole conversation of where are you from? Like, how old are you? What do you do? Why are you traveling? Sometimes I just don't have the energy for that conversation, but I also don't want to be alone. So it's nice to then pop in a podcast of somebody that I've listened to for a long time and they're giving you value, but it also feels like a conversation with an old friend. It's comforting. It lessens that little ache of loneliness sometimes, while also facilitating time that you can spend with yourself and facilitating introspection and self-development. And you can think through your own thoughts and relate to this person. I really want this to be a space like that because it got to a point where I couldn't find a creator who was talking about the stuff that I really cared about, like exactly how I wanted to. And I was like, well, maybe I should just create it, If it's not out there, create what you want to listen to. So I do want to talk about how travel has changed me because a lot of people ask me about that. And it's a weird thing because when I'm at home or I'm talking to family or to friends, sometimes it feels like people are asking because they're curious, but do they really want to know? I mean, do they really care about my motorcycle crash in Nicaragua or how I worked in a hostel in Costa Rica? Or like, sometimes it feels like, I don't know if my other travelers can relate to this, but sometimes it feels weird talking about it face to face with people because it's like, how is this coming across? Am I sounding like one of those people who are so full of themselves and their whole identity is just their travels? Like, I don't want to be that. But it's not about the destinations for me. It's about how I truly figured things out about myself and about life while going through all of these very strange, kind of reckless experiences. And I would love to talk about that in a space where I know the people who click on these episodes actually care and they relate and they want to share and be a part of these stories. I think the big thing about solo travel is I learned to sit with myself. I learned that loneliness and freedom very often hold hands, that grief and joy can coexist. I mean, I've made friends I'll never see again, probably. I've fallen in love with cities and people I have had to leave behind. But in that, I think I found a lot of clarity and resilience that I'm still working on, obviously, but more resilience than I've had in the past. And a sense of self that I didn't know I was missing. A sense of a flicker of who you are beneath all the identity markers, beneath the this is where I'm from, this is what I studied, this is what I do. An idea of who you really are when nobody's there who knew you when you were little, when you were growing up, who knew your reputation in high school. You can be whoever you want the day you walk into this new hostel, into this new city. And most of the time, that person you want to be is just 100% yourself. Because where else do you get a space where nobody has expectations of who you should be? Or you should be like this because this is how you were a year ago when they knew you. You can just be yourself and you're probably never going to see them again. So you can tell them all your truths and it doesn't matter. And living like that long term really makes you realize that that's how you form the deepest connections. And through all of this, I've been writing, journaling, trying to make sense of what it means to live a good life. And sometimes I feel invincible. Like some mornings I wake up and I'm like, I could start a business right now. I want to climb Everest. I want to get a promotion, go to 3 new countries all in 1 week. And then other times, I literally cannot even answer an email or a DM. And that's the thing about your 20s. I mean, there's no rules, no safety nets. Everybody's doing something wildly different. My one best friend is finishing up her master's degree in creative writing. My other best friend is literally engaged to the love of her life and building a little home together, working a full-time job. I'm out here doing who the hell knows what in India, working online, deciding to make a podcast at 3 a.m. So everybody's doing something wildly different, and I just find it so beautiful. It's so chaotic. So that's what this is, a conversation. A tiny lighthouse, maybe, for anyone out there navigating their own weird, messy 20s. And if this episode resonated with you, if my 3 a.m. thoughts made you feel like you're less alone, then please join me. I will be talking about anything and everything on here, but I think the golden thread that we'll be tying through it all is just figuring it out. And let's figure it out together because nobody wants to figure it out alone, right? So, yeah, if this resonated with you, please subscribe to my podcast. I think that's what they say, right? Please subscribe, share it with a friend, or just keep listening. Ha! Anyway, until next time, please be kind to yourself. Thanks for being here. And let's be lost and found together.